We've got it to Scots, which I thought was a bit weird.
Now, I'm sure most of you have seen Google Maps, but just to bring out some of the key functionality, it is allowing you to look at your environment surrounding roads, should I say, in this nice sort of scrollable way. You can zoom in on the road and so on. For what I'm going to talk about later on, this is a key enabling technology, having this level of detail presented to you. Some people are concerned about some of Google's terms and conditions. In theory, everything you run through Google Maps, Google Technologies, Google have the right to use. Which means you might have spent thousands of pounds researching and developing a data set. You run it on a Google map, and in principle, Google can now use that data set. In practice, I don't see it as a major restriction, but you might regard it as one. So there are alternatives. OpenStreetMap, if you haven't seen it, is quite amazing. It's a collaborative project to do what Google is doing, but in a completely open way. So it's based around a wiki concept that people can add their own content. So this is the OpenStreetMap view of my area where I live in Loughborough. And as you can see, it's pretty detailed. Very similar way of API, very similar way of being used to Google Maps, but completely open and no potentially dodgy terms and conditions. We also have a few other key enabling technologies. One is the standardization of metadata and formats. Not particularly exciting sounding, but we have things like GeoRSS, which allow you to embed geographic information in blog feeds, RSS feeds. We have KML, which was a Google-developed but now open technology for representing map data in a so-called XML form, so you can store points, tracks, polygons, additional information, and then create a single KML file which has all that information stored within it. It's an open standard, so any program can use it. EXIF on photographs allows you to embed a geographic location within the picture. So, as you probably know, when a camera takes a photograph, it stores a whole range of things, such as the exposure and the colour balance and all the settings on the camera. But it can also store the location. If your camera's either got a GPS built into it, or you're using a logger which allows you to track your location for bringing it into the photographs later on, you can now store that information within the picture. The really important thing about that is that so-called metadata is actually in the picture file. So as you exchange the picture file, you don't lose the metadata. And then there are also a whole range of standards for storing geographic information, so-called geocoding. These are a whole range of different projections. The important thing is they're standards and they're therefore interoperable between programs. And then finally we have this new range of smartphones, such as the Apple iPhone, which is an amazing device, but also some of these new Google Android devices, and to a lesser extent some of the work that BlackBerry and Microsoft and so on are doing. So these are very sophisticated devices that have a lot of this technology built in. They have fast mobile internet, GPS, access to mapping services, and a general familiarity with metadata standards. So all of these things emerging at roughly the same time, and certainly maturing at the same time, have suddenly opened up a whole new way of looking at how we access and present internet information. Now I'm going to show you a few little examples of that, and I'm sure if you're particularly interested, your preferred social network will have some sort of location-based material. Now the first one is just a set of Flickr photos, which perfect, has loaded. Last summer, I decided to go on a bit of a trans-Europe journey. I caught a bus from Leicester to the Black Sea, which took 60 hours of actual travel and assorted stopovers and so on. It was very gruelling. But what I wanted to do was just first of all see if I could do it, because I go to Bulgaria quite a lot, and I wanted to see if I could do it overland, save a bit of carbon. But also I thought it would make an interesting photographic project. So at the time I had a little Nokia N95 device. A sophisticated smartphone, but compared to some of the newer ones the interface is a little bit lacking. But one thing it can do is geotag your photographs. So if I start at the beginning of my journey, I set off from here, and in fact I actually set off from Loughborough where I live. I'll wait for the picture to load, so that's my street, and you can have a look at this yourselves if you can't see it too clearly from here. I went down to London, and I then went across the channel, and I hadn't been across the channel by boat for quite a while, and it's rather, with all the concerns over immigration, it's a rather traumatic experience actually. It's like being hustled through some sort of game nightmare scenario with fences and lights everywhere. It did remind me of the sort of games my lads play. Hopped on a different bus once I got over the channel. It's running a little bit slow. Broke down in Belgium. It's the bus. Yeah. Well, yes, me on the bus. Yeah. It was both. Yeah. And went through that's Leipzig or Liège, and so on. I did a complete trans-Europe journey here. Now, I think that's a really interesting way of presenting this information. And if nothing else, it doesn't make the photographs any better, but if nothing else, it adds an extra element to this photographic set, particularly as it was a journey. It doesn't have to be a journey for a location to be valuable. But what you see here is a journey over a number of days, captured in photographic form, and then automatically mapped. Now, because I had a mobile device that had built-in GPS, this was an extremely easy thing to do. I just grabbed the pictures and it tagged them. But there are devices that allow you to, if you haven't got a camera with a built-in GPS, to have a geo-tagger which follows you around, maps your location. And as long as the clocks on your camera and on your geo-tagger are in sync, when you come back to base, you load both data sets into a program, and it then works out where you were when you took the particular picture. So thinking about your projects, you might consider projects based around journeys or trails, or perhaps business, if you're business people, presenting retail environments and so on, and have those mapped around Leicester or mapped around your environment. In this case, like I say, it was a rather long, arduous journey. It doesn't have to be. It can just be presenting information on a map that adds that extra element to it. Now, of course, what I'm doing here is I'm accessing this information via a desktop. And mobile and location-based internet doesn't just have to be about the mobile device itself. You can use the mobile device to capture information, such as my camera, and then present it on a desktop. That's an alternative way of thinking about how you use location-based information. Present it on the desktop, capture it on the mobile. If I go back to my slides. Similar things are possible with YouTube. YouTube now has the ability for you to geotag your content. I don't have a camera with a video camera with a GPS built in, so what I tend to do is when I upload my videos to YouTube, I use their map interface and browse down and put a point on the map where a particular video is taken. You'll also find that blogs now offer the ability to embed your location in them. Twitter, if you've used Twitter, I'm sure most of you have, there are Twitter clients that can embed your location. I'm going to speed up a little bit. Audioboo allows you to store little audio snippets, audio blogs on a map. If I think of a map view, in fact, if I look at this one, so somebody here has just uploaded a piece of audio, a little audio blog. Luckily it will have a location, it hasn't got a location on it, this one. Audioboo, have a look at it if you're interested in maybe the idea of leaving messages, spoken word messages on maps. Google Latitude and Yahoo Fire Eagle are about geolocating the individual, not just the content. So